So, a warm welcome to everybody who is joining. So, we will start in a second. And we will start in time. This is our goal for every on-air session. So, a warm welcome to everybody who is joining today's session, today's afternoon session. And I can assure you that this will be a high energetic session. And we will have Dr. Armin Kaboli from the EPFL School of Computer and Communication Sciences here. And we will have an on-air session, which is presented by the Swiss AI Weeks and Wildcard Media. And it's about AI product management workshop. So let me just quickly check if everybody is joining. Great. So we will have three sections in this workshop. It will be 30 to 40 minutes talk in the beginning by Armin. Then we will follow with a group work of about 30 minutes in breakout rooms with you. And then we will finalize with a 15 to 20 minutes Q&A and wrap-up session in the end. And the whole session will be, or not the whole session, the first part of the session will be streamed on YouTube, so that is everybody aware of that. And I'll have to say that, Armin, because your colleague who will join, right? He just defended his master thesis some minutes ago, so I'll have to share this to the people. So, yeah. And now I'm handing over to you and wish you a great session.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sabine. Happy to be with everybody. Hi. Have a good afternoon, wherever and wherever you are. Like you might have the afternoon or morning or probably time zone in the evening. Anyway, I am very happy joining you guys, share with you what we have done so far and research and the reports coming out of the industry, experts, plus the teaching that we have at EPFL on the graduate side and for executives. I'm very happy sharing this with you guys and would be very happy to hear from you and sharing your questions. And I hope we're going to have a very dynamic session. So to have this goal, my suggestion is please shoot your questions and on the chat. Joe is here helping us, and then cluster the questions every 7 to 8 minutes. We pause, I pause, or Joe will intervene, and then we go collect your questions and answer some of them, and then we go for a group work. So it's a very dynamic and a kind of a hope energetic session. Then we go for the, let's say, the workshop, the group work, and the group work about 30 minutes. So you're gonna be assigned in breakout rooms between 6 to 7 people, and highly recommend to share your video, share your voice, introduce yourself at the very, very beginning so that use it as an opportunity to network with other brilliant minds in the room, in the virtual room. And then we're going to go to 15 to 30 minutes Q&A and sharing, and then wrap up of the whole talk and understand. The first part, as Sabine said, is going to be recorded. The second and third part mainly is just for matter of like we have the liberty of sharing some views, some other information that is a bit more difficult to be shared, or you have the liberty of asking any question that you would like to ask. All right. So on that note, let me just start with this part. Every company, every team would like to be AI ready and want to be there. So consider like a metaphor of the mountain, right? So in that mountain metaphor, all companies are things they want to be there. But the main thing is this journey starts with experimentation, having some pilot studies, and then scaling it up. Okay. So the sobering reality is 70 to 80% of the projects, they fail. Apart from the MIT report that it was about Gen AI, that 95% of projects, they haven't had any return of investment, and only 5% of that had a return of investment in Gen AI. How much money is spent so far? About 40 billion. 40 billion. So one thing there is that we don't claim that this is like we know the way, but we know a couple of good let's say, tricks to do that, because the team that we have here and all the things probably have heard about apparatus, other faculties that we have and working with us under this program or community of program AI product management, that we were all involved either in some unicorns or working with some startups or governments or launching some large projects. And we have seen many, let's say, reasons how things could fail and go fail. Anyway, the failure rate is quite high and is a very expensive, if we go back here, it's a very expensive experimentation. So it's very important to be cautious and caring and knowing where typically products they go wrong. We break it down to three main simple parts. Number one is on the discovery side, solving a problem, not the problem, not caring for the pain point of the user. Rather, it's just something that I think it is good. I have a good team. Let's work on it. Let's use, I don't know, Meta, or let's say a GPT, and then add it up. LLM going to be used for some specific thing in a specific city. I've seen tons of this stuff. And then this city want to answer the clients for the customer satisfaction and so on. Cool on the experimentation side, cool on the pilot test. It's not as scalable. And majority, we call it in the trap of scalability, they fail to go to the next stage. And then we are engineers, and probably majority of us, we love coding and we love preparing something and we love having a demo and so on. But then we just focus on the technicality first rather than other factors. What are them? I will reveal it on the in this talk by the end of it. And then the other part is on the AI product delivery. How we're engineering the solution. This doesn't work, we recode. We add another feature. We add another part. Well, it doesn't touch actually the problem. It's just a problem on the suit of the problems. So on that note, let me just go for some parts, very classical. We go back to what is product, what product managers they do, and then what is the new activity as AI product manager that it came out? What are the statistics? What are the jobs out there? What it takes to be a good AI product manager? And then we go for some cool use cases, some of them failures, some of them success, and seeing like how we're going to evaluate them in general, having a proper framework, and not just one. I offer two here, and then there are other things that out there that we can consider, but I selected only two. And then we're going to go concretely going, if we're going to go for a pilot, for experimentation, for a pilot, what should we do? All right. And at the end, we have time to go for the workshop. All right. So on that note, like if your Rolex watch or Audemars Piguet, if you have anything around, like a mechanical, lovely, amazing engineering product, but it's just a product that is not connected. Then it was an evolution in the product. Then Bluetooth came and the smart technology came up. And then we went for a smart connected one. It's not just one thing that connect to Bluetooth. It is more connected with each other and home automation and so on. Then product system came, platform came, and then system of system, like your phone or the Tesla, the EV, or home automation then. So what we are seeing massive, let's say, ecosystem is built around the product. And then now companies are not just talking about product, they're talking about system of system or ecosystem. So the product manager of today is somebody who can leverage and manage an ecosystem or part of ecosystem, which is mainly about connectivity, mainly about system thinking. It is not just technical coding. It is not just that one. All right, what changed in the products if you see the different suites of product and evolution? And this evolution, basically the product cloud is added up, the information about the product. Because as you see on the previous slide, product didn't have any product. Your Rolex watch doesn't share anything with you or anything with the company else than the information of what time is it. And even the mechanical watch is not super precise, right? Not as precise as the digital. But then here, for the digital watch, like your iWatch, this information being shared. This is with the company, with you, and so on. And then even it tracks how fast you're walking. So what changed? Look, the key difference, if you see again on this spectrum, is that for software, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, what we have done is that we distilled our knowledge or the way of solving a problem We put it there, our knowledge, and then we programmed it in a particular outcome. But it's different. Machine learns now and even suggests to you what are the things, what are the activities. So the key point that changes from software to AI leap is on the learning side. So that is the main, let's say, key leverage now that we have. So I talked about AI as a technology, and which is unprecedented because before, previous technologies like printing press, electricity, and internet, they were all groundbreaking. That was great and awesome, and they made a lot of progress in our lives. But the main thing there is there was no key point of learning. Here, the essence being based on data, algorithm, and hardware, it learns by itself. So there are different methods or approaches, or let's say there are tools, and I would rather prefer to call AI, like, or define it from the lens of toolbox rather. There's no concession, unfortunately, on the AI definition in among experts. But then what we can at least agree on is seeing it from the lens of toolbox and seeing it from supervised learning, unsupervised reinforcement, generative AI. You may ask, like, okay, where do you put the agentic AI? Well, this is an extension of Gen AI, or you can add up to this list as well. But what is very important is just we see it as a toolbox, and it's on the core is learning. And what it does is on the point of a speed, a scale, and meaningful impact. That is making it unprecedented. That makes it different from printing press, electricity, and internet. The speed, scale, and the learning that we have. All right. So we agree on that definition and the core element and characteristics. We know it disrupts. This is a technology that creates disruption. So in what level? We break it down to three main points. One is on the task level. And if there are a number of tasks, then we call it a job is disrupted. For example, like a translation or translator's job, right? Series of or activities on the job description, series of tasks are, let's say, it could be automated. Then if that percentage goes, for example, above 60, 70%, we say this job is disrupted or it's under risk of being disrupted. For example, machine vision to identify potential cancer cell, or AI chatbot, as you see, like Google Health, OpenAI, and so on. That they disrupted some tasks, many tasks actually, or some jobs that some researchers are, let's say, weekly or monthly, they are giving report on what is disrupted and what is under risk and so on. And different measures right now, a bit of like cool points, we have some indication, but a bit of too much fear. I would say on that point, since I brought the information, which is not related to this slide, but anyway, I brought the information about the jobs. The concession so far that we have, the consensus is that we see mainly more disruptions on the entry level rather than senior level. So we see more difficulty for our graduates now from EPFL to find jobs, for example, or in the job market in general. I recently put it on, based on the Financial Times report, I put it in a LinkedIn post anyway. If you are connected, you can see it there. But then there are other points, back to the same slide. So we talked about tasks. On the task, similar to the business process or job, it is the same. Like a business process could be, let's say, automated, like fraud detection in banking, warehouse logistic optimization. The process of checking out, still you have semi-manual when you go to Coop and Migros because you buy it, but then you have to one by one scan it. Still, this part is manual, even if you go to the self-check-in. So what if we have the full process being automated? I'm going to have a case study showing you how Amazon did that, Amazon Go. Probably you've seen it. If not, we check this one. The other thing is about the business model, like experiencing music and movies as you use Netflix or Spotify or any other music or video streaming. So let me now define a product manager. A product manager is a person who's in the middle. I know there are many other vans being shared, but the main thing for a product manager is the discovery of an idea that worth developing and delivering it and checking and continuously improving on that. So what is very important is just going through this process to hit the problem not a problem. Hit the problem. So it's a spiral that you go up and up and up in search and then fine tuning in search of finding the real pain point of your user. So there are many stakeholders there: engineers, marketing, sales, customer success, design, security, your senior management, legal, finance, and depends in what area you would be activated. You're in a legal LLM, or you're, for example, other side, or for example, you do it for sales. Depends what area. So some of these them going to be stakeholder. But what the key term here is that you have many stakeholders to deal with. And it's very important I have another part that specifically talk about what it takes, what are the main capabilities for AI product manager or product manager who's enabled by AI or using AI to have this capability or skill set. So might be a question now that, okay, I mean, I know about the product management, but then what is the difference with AI product management? So if you remember, we at the very beginning, I talked about the physical product that was not connected, and then digital or AI product like Snowflake, OpenAI, Google Cloud, and so on, or something in the middle, right? If we can put it like linear, basically it's like a pyramid, because when the physical aspect meets the digital part, this is the marvel. Like you see in electric car, or you see it, for example, in Amazon Go, or you see it in airplanes, for example, like the autopilot and so on, which is engineering marvel that you see all, or defense, which is not the topic of my discussion, but then many top technologies, as you may know, it arises first in the in the defense side, and then they commoditize it, and then they want to have more people being used, and then similar story for Bluetooth, similar story for many other technologies. It comes down, and then people they use it more, so that the cost of technology comes down for governments. Anyway, let's get back here and not distracted. So the difference between product manager and AI product manager, the difficulty that you have as AI product manager is this one: you have data dependencies. Apart from the availability, accessibility, and so on, data is the main issue. But then data dependencies, you have compute resources that you have to estimate before starting the project. You have to estimate how much compute you need, right? And that's one of the reasons we have the supercomputing center right now, AI Center of EPFL and AI Center of ETH. They are working together to make it available for many companies right now, this, let's say, computing power, and they can rent this one. As far as the electricity, the money going to be properly paid for the electricity of the usage, unpredictability of the trends, unpredictability of your models, and on top, ethical and compliance consideration that this product probably is good included on the demo side, but having harm for kids. Or probably have heard about GPT that some people, it encouraged some people for suicide, because the, let's say, earlier stage of usage, the main point of the LLM is just the ranking of model goes higher if it is more friendly, if it just confirms you as you do. Anyway, if you get any difficulty discussion with your partner, just talk with a GPT and see how it helps you first to relieve and have the emotional talk. But second point, you see like how it convinces you that your partner is wrong as well, or you're right, and encouraging you for some actions. So anyway, on that note, better to use experts rather than just LLM. So then you may ask, what are the points? Okay, how much AI do I need to know to be an AI product manager? Depends on the company that or the project, and depends how open you are to learn. But I can break it down to three main stages. One is off-the-shelf solution that you just use, like GPT Cloud or so on, or Gemini, or you tune the existing solution for your company, for your community, for your city, and so on, based on the problem that you think is worth building or values the user, or you build the fundamental model. Our graduate students, or people we are working with in general at EPFL, they are in this stage, they are here. But then we have executive programs that are mainly on this stage and so on. So what is very important to have this self-awareness about yourself and level of AI knowledge that you are, what you know and what is missing, and having this openness to learn on the go, because there are a lot coming every day, and then we need to work on. Let me just pause here. Joe, do we have questions? All good? Clear. Okay. Yeah, sure. As a reminder, again, you can type your questions. We would every right now 7 or 8 minutes, pause and then check in with Joe to see like what's going on, and then answer your question to keep it more interactive rather than one side I talk ex cathedra, which I don't like it very much. All right, good. But as I said, there's an evolving opportunity coming and jobs are morphing. So one thing there, some jobs are cut or some jobs are going less. So they're hiring less and less. For example, one of them is computer engineers. What we see number goes down. And of course, I'm talking about the task, not just title. Okay. But then from the other side, we can see product managers are going up. So, or engineers, computer engineers with the capability who can manage the product, who manage part of the ecosystem, manage part or being more senior, manage the whole ecosystem. So one thing there, we are talking again about some tasks that are less desired, needed. But then from the other side, of course, new technology brings new opportunities. And then the question is not about what job is caught, what jobs are caught. The point is like, what are the new opportunities that arise and how ready we are for them? So this is one of the examples here. The other point is like some other statistics that I can show you from different sources. You have all of them. You can check, fact check each of them. I'll put the source under the slide. And feel free to have a screenshot of any of them. That's definitely fine for me. The other thing that we see is a report by Andrew Yang, and what's very interesting to see like how he maps. We see number of engineers are getting less and towards product manager, and we have more and more, let's say, demand for product manager rather than just engineer, and the number of product managers are going higher. So what I can tell you is that most companies have difficulty finding people that they know how to develop products and understand AI. And this is a very demanded position and demanding job and a skill set that we try at least to provide education and expertise know-how to the community here, at least in Switzerland or the Western European side, to create this capability for the companies that highly require and demand this. So now, what are the essential capabilities? I'll go for the essential capabilities and then cover if there's any question, okay? So essential capabilities, number one, personal mastery. I try to adapt it based on the emotional intelligence of Dan Goldman and then adjust it based on the context of AI that we have. As any manager, they need to have the emotional intelligence, let's say core skills. I add up some stuff there, but they mainly kept it in 4 essential, let's say, pillars. Number one is personal mastery, growth mindset, being open to learn, not being worried of a setback, not being worried of a failure. Failure could be intelligent as far as number one is not known to you or others or experts. Number two is that it's a small size that you're testing it, you're experimenting it. So that's absolutely an intelligent failure. Second point is about AI knowledge. So you map your AI knowledge, how much AI you know, and how you would like to add, and what are the other skill set and so on that you would like to add. So absolutely part of it is adaptability that I link it again back to growth mindset. How we want to learn, we want to teach the machine to learn while we are not up for learning. So that's the main thing. Really, this technology demands us as a creator as well, or supervisor for the algorithm, to really learn and be adaptable. The other part is about empathy and awareness. The point about being user-centric. User is the center, not me and my skill set to build something and feed it. So there's no push in the system. It's more on the pull side. So we see the pain point, and based on the pain point, we try to adjust it. We observe there are different approaches for this let's say, to make it user-centric, to work on that one and adjust it, and having the panel of users to use it, early adapters, how to make it, and then bring it up and scale it. And then having social awareness as well, environmental awareness. We are working with a tool that uses a lot, has a big CO2 footprint, huge CO2 footprint. So it's very important to have the awareness and knowing how to use it. 3, relation skills. If you relationship skills, if you recall, we have many stakeholders, And with these stakeholders, we need to talk with people. It is not coding necessarily. As I said, it's discovery, development, and delivery. Without this discovery, good luck. Do the delivery, do the this development, but nobody going to use it. Nobody going to click it. What is very important is that we develop something, some products that people they love, they use it. And then the AI leadership essentials. First and foremost, ethical decision making, which unfortunately lacking a lot. And then we see many tech companies are even firing the ethics department or canceling or reducing the number there, which is very essential to have it. And the other thing is a system thinking. Okay, well, I come there. It's not a matter of I be the first and I be nonprofit and turn myself to profit and so on, profitable something. But then what's going to be the impact on others? So some people rather prefer to see themselves than a system or ecosystem. Let me pause here because the next part, I want to talk about some use cases that governments or companies they use and where they use it more and what is used and then how success looks like. Let me just pause here and then see what are the questions, Joe. I would say yes. On one of the questions is about the evolution of PM, AI PM. From one lens, yes, we can consider this one as the evolution of a product. And yes, so short answer is yes. But then there are main differences that I mentioned there, like data dependencies and unpredictability of models, trends, and ethics, and so on, that are more sensitive here. I don't say it is not important. For example, Volkswagen scandal that happened for the gasoline usage and the amount of CO2, let's say, tests that they have done in the United States. Of course, that was the ethical part of compliance. But then there are more built up. It is not like data dependencies and so on. So that's part about the evolution. What is the other question? If projects that are more feasible. Well, I would not go for a project because the main question, let me repeat it. Thank you, Joe. So the main question that is there for some companies, they just want to AIize, or as you have seen, probably they put like a ketchup, use it like a ketchup, put it everywhere. What is very important question to ask is like, what is the value that it adds up? It's a very good question right now. The thing is, if we don't use AI in our company, and that was exactly the trap that 95% of companies that fell there based on the MIT report. 95% of the companies, 30 to 40 billion in spend. I don't say we should not go there. Experimentation definitely is good. Let's say intelligent failure is absolutely positive. It's not negative, but absolutely positive. But in a smaller scale, not in a large one, not like there's no limit for the resources. Of course, our resources, it's aligned with our let's say amount of risk that we can take, but then there could be like better way of managing it. There are some other question here. I can see, do you recommend any course or so on? I don't want to be a seller here, but we have some program at EPFL. At the end of the program, I will share with you, but then there are pros and so on, and you can investigate by yourself that what are answering your need. My approach is more product management style or AI product management style. We see what is your need and aligned with that we are suggesting. Daniel asked, what about the technical skills? I mentioned it already here. AI knowledge is definitely there. So I'm packing it. I'm not going there to expand all of that. But this is as important as your empathy. It is as important as your social awareness. Unless you just want to be a developer, unless you just want to be in development team. We are talking about AI product manager who's responsible for end-to-end development of three main modules or phases: AI product discovery, development, and delivery. This person deals with many people, and this person needs to know how all the process and that, let's say, evals and all of that, evaluation of the models and so on. Yes, we are not talking. We are talking about foundation. We are not talking about the, let's say, the hypes and things that are going beyond. So let's just stay just on the foundation level and seeing like what are there. And all we are sharing here with you is based on our experience of last 3-4 years at least at EPFL training over, I would say, 300 people on this field and this area. Okay, so let's move on with we can take other questions on the second pause that we take for the question. How companies and governments they're using it. It's very important to see governments where they are. What there we can see is that on the purpose level, companies are governments or countries, they're using it to enhance service delivery, boost internal efficiency, informed decision making. For example, Basel has a chatbot developed. Some other cities in Switzerland they are trying to do as well, similar. But there are different areas to do that. For what purpose? For what area? One of the very important one is transportation, traffic and transportation. The other is infrastructure, public safety, security, environment and climate, and so on, and education. But then these are like on the large list that the reference is here. We can just see, like, for example, one example from Australia. Let's look at the video. It doesn't have any sound, but then this is the experience. Sometimes we have seen it even from Geneva to Lausanne or Bern to Zurich and so on. At the entrance, there's a blockage here, a bottleneck. There's a bad accident, God forbid, to anybody. But something like this could happen. But then after AI camera installation, there is a zone for it, similar to production line. There's a red zone, there's a green zone, and so on. So if their congestion goes high, camera are going to be tricked and it's going to be more on the green light so that the traffic starts to move. And then we have all detected properly. So that's one cool example. We can talk about the traffic and transportation, for example, in this field, how governments are using. Of course, there are many other use cases. I summarized it in slide 21, I believe. For the companies, we see like some different reports. We see India using a lot, in India, US, and then mainly there are different businesses. They have different targets. The startups with different targets, medium size or large companies with different targets. But two stand out in the report for me is increasing innovation and creativity. The other one is automating repetitive tasks. So they are the main areas that they've done. So there is, I don't know if you have seen this. Do you hear the sound? Do you hear the sound?
4 years ago, we started to wonder, what would shopping look like if you could walk into a store, grab what you want, and just go? What if we could weave the most advanced machine learning, computer vision, and AI into the very fabric of a store so you never have to wait in line? No lines, no checkouts, no registers. Welcome to Amazon Go. Use the Amazon Go app to enter. Then put away your phone and start shopping. It's really that simple. Take whatever you like. Anything you pick up is automatically added to your virtual cart. If you change your mind about that cupcake, just put it back. Our technology will update your virtual cart automatically. So, how does it work? We used computer vision, deep learning algorithms, and sensor fusion, much like you'd find in self-driving cars. We call it Just Walk Out technology. Once you've got everything you want, you can just go. When you leave, our Just Walk Out technology adds up your virtual cart and charges your Amazon account. Your receipt is sent straight to the app, and you can keep going. Amazon Go.
All right, great. There's they had success. Amazon had success in some places, not all places. You can test and check because depends how people they use it. They have seen like the blind spot of some cameras here and there, and then Amazon should have paid from the pocket. From the other side, some part data compiling and data analysis was not proper, so they hired some other people in Asia to just crunch data to manage that remotely and so on. So there were some part there. The main idea is there. I don't say it doesn't work. There are some centers in California and so on, but then it's not still widespread. As you can see, it takes time to go for an experimentation, pilot a study, and then going for the scale up and being AI ready organization. Anyway, that was one use case. Another thing that we can see, I mean, there's one framework. I will bring another framework as well for you. One way is just seeing, very simple, to see value of it, low, high. And the other one is how risky is the idea, how risky is the area that you're working, or AI project or product that you're developing. I can bring like 2 or 3 examples here in our view. It's like Lucy or Nadia in Australia or Amazon Locker. Different, not like it was low learning zone. I mean, Amazon Locker, for those who probably have seen it in France and Germany, we don't have it in Switzerland. And then it's a low value, low, let's say, risk. But then we go for the higher one. The traffic signaling example is in United States, Pittsburgh, but then you've seen one of them in Australia as well. That adds value for the lives of citizens, and then for insurance and so on. Translation, for example, another example is for European Union, 33 languages at the same time. When there is one act, they have to translate it for different countries. So that adds different value. From the other side, among us might be some translators who are their job is disrupted, or the main tasks are taken. I understand with that one, like technology takes some part, but creates new opportunity again for some other activities. And the usage of in Walmart or this is a brand, Italian brand, that they use, for example, AI in sales and operations planning, Zalando as well for forecasting or delivery and so on, or seeing like what you need, and then they go for the next step, predicting your behavior. The other thing is about hair or profit, which is a forecasting platform. City Brain, Smart Nation is fantastic. But then what we can see here, there are some companies, they kind of break the rule, or countries that they have a bit looser, I don't say no ethical platform, but they have looser ethical platform, let's say, or consideration comparing to Switzerland than to what we have. Because I'm working with some of the great minds here in for the government as well, that they are doing, but their main concern is here. They don't want to go to high risk, let's say, side, rather to keep it ethical. And then things that could go wrong, like Dodge, you've heard all in the news, what they use Grok to fire people or send automatic messages and so on for firing, or Sharp Eye, for example, in China. Air Canada, the chatbot went wrong, and Tay is an older story as well. So where to concentrate here? The best is like having a very quick evaluation of the idea, the pain point, and then seeing like this, apart from the, let's say, viability of the idea, what are the main risks there? And then evaluating, breaking down the main risks for it. So we talk about things, and then let's go for here in that zone, what we can do to bring this as a success, similar to be on the list that are in a successful case or increase the success. First and foremost is asking ourselves, like, what is the value? Will user and customer choose to use or buy the product? Well, many of us as engineers, we answer yes, capital. Well, better to test it, better to check it, better to see like how much clicks you get, how many, let's say, seconds this platform that you develop, or feature or app or product that you develop is going to be in use. The second point is matter of usability. Many on the corporate side, if you have a corporate experience, you know that many, they have ERP system like SAP or Oracle. Companies, they pay above 15 or 20 million for using it to large corporates. But still, people, they use Excel, right? Because it is too complicated, and usability here for Excel, at least in some fields that I'm working with the companies, for many users, Excel is much easier and then more flexible. And then anyway, SAP is super wooden. All of these comments are mine. It's not for EPFL, and I'll put a disclaimer at the very beginning. So it's on me and personal experience and personal comment that I have, not EPFL. The third one is the feasibility. So can we build a solid solution that user and customer can switch and use this one? Example is matter of like OpenAI. tons of amazing engineers, and then how easily we switch from search engine like Google to, let's say, use majority of that. I don't say we fully switched, but then some main part of the search being dedicated there, and there's a statistic and data out there as well. And the last question is about the matter of viability. Is the solution viable? Are you going to make money? Well, I don't care. I'm an engineer. Sorry. AI product manager, as you've seen, computer science engineers, they're going down on the trend of job hiring, basically because we didn't care much. But what is very important is we see it end to end, because we would like to be sustainable and viable. And that is the main thing. That's many of us as an engineer in development, we don't like it. So to put this experimentation into impact and practice from idea to validation, we suggest this to take these 5 steps. I'm not orthodox. I'm not a hypocrite to say like these are the way, but then what we are suggesting is this is the suggested way or best practice that we experienced, that some of the ideas turn to good startups that right now they're in Y Combinator, they went to Y Combinator, they are from EPFL, and they are in Silicon Valley right now, or some of the, let's say, unicorn that our colleagues or us we work with, they went through basically this. So step 1 is clearly understanding the problem, understanding the customer needs. There are different ways to understand it. You can go identify user persona, you can use design thinking, observation interviews, journey mapping, empathy mapping, and so on. Example, when Dara Khosrowshahi came for Uber, he took over as a CEO, he put the cap, took the car, and Ubered, and then helped, and then took gave some ride to some random client that they didn't know he's CEO. But he observed, he had interview, observed whole process, how the app works, how the pickup works, how cancellation works, how the money works. You see, I'm talking up to this level of first-hand observation, first-hand view. Then you write down simple assumption and hypothesis that you have. All of the tests that you have, your assumptions are given in your head. Reality is not necessarily the same as we think. And we know reality is not absolute, it's relative to how we think, where we are. But then how users are using things in Switzerland is different from Portugal and different from Sweden, probably. And still, I'm talking on the cluster of European usage. I'm not talking about other countries. So it's very important to write down your solution and then map what are the riskiest, what are hypotheses that you're building. Then we need to set and define the success and failure factors and set some KPIs aligned with our OKR. What are OKR? Our objective mainly of key business processes that we have. And then we develop our MVP. MVP could be any type, anything, but we shouldn't fall for the MVP because the demo is cute. Majority of executive, let's say, meeting that we see, many executives, they love this one because cool younger engineers, they develop some stuff, and senior managers, they really love it, but that is not necessarily scalable. There are another tricks for that. What is very important, we don't forget to deliver and improve it. So it's a continuous improvement process, and it's not just one-sided, rather it's just in one shot, 5 steps, but it's on iteration and things are repeating. All right, so let me introduce these 2 frameworks. Number 1, as I said, is going to be on the value, viability, usability, and feasibility. You can rank it from 1 to 10, any of the point that we have, but then it's better to do it in your team. If you get any star here, it's worth exploring it. If you get any star. If it's a half a star or so on, better to think about some other ideas and explore something and then talk more with the clients and so on to understand, or your user, to understand what is the problem, not a problem. That doesn't give you full start. And second point is, as we talk, you can map it based on the value and risk and just concentrate on the quick win and see what brings up on your demo. And then the question is, after the demo, if everything is successful, similar to OpenAI, they work as I think they call it playground, the time that I remember, they were using it. And Azure, whenever we had some account for Azure, we can have the playground and work with it. So it was a service that we had and we worked, and we have seen what is going on beyond that. And then based on that, they brought it on the quick win, then they decided to go for the opportunity, strategic opportunity zone. So it depends what framework you want to use. Feel free to use any of that to map your idea and then develop that one. Let me pause here before we go for the reflection time. Yes. Very good question. The point about the risk is here, as you see. Probably you joined us recently or you haven't seen the use cases that they're doing so, because some of their story could end up to reputational risk for the company, for the government, for the team, and so on. And I want to link it to the beginning of the work. AI is a toolbox, and we see it as a toolbox. And the other main point here is that it's a matter of a speed and a scale. So it impacts many people. So it could go wrong. If it goes wrong, it's in big time wrong, and it could impact other people. Depends how many people they have access differently. So what is very important is to just rank your risky, let's say, assumption and points that you have. For example, this risky assumption could be about your resources, about the money that you have. For example, users, they pay 20 to use my application. Well, probably it's hard to even convince them even to exchange the matter of like how much they pay for a coffee here, 3 to 5 francs, for your, let's say, platform. Problem. That's one of the riskiest one, because then you are overestimating. Underestimating could go for the ethical matter. Like, well, it doesn't touch much of the teenagers, or doesn't matter how far it could go, for example, with photo sharing and so on, without protection, without consent, without thing that you ensure that, or for example, financial matter, that without putting an option that, well, our users are basically 25 to 40. What are you going to do if a 16 years old uses and there's a fraud going or happen by this usage? Basically, these risks are not mapped properly. And then that's going to impact on the process of development. That's why I'm saying, like, the process of discovery is a very important process. But unfortunately, many companies and many teams, they're rushing it. And then this rush, which is very important to be speedy, but we should know how to speed, similar to the car, how to speed so that we are not making a bad impact somewhere. Other questions? Overall, all good? Okay, good. So I would suggest highly we're going to have a breakout room right now. I highly suggest to have a screenshot of this slide, because we're going to go to the breakout room and we're going to talk about this within our team. And apart from, first, I suggest to have a short introduction of yourself, but then don't consider more than 30 seconds, because it's mainly 3 sentences: your name, what you do, and then what's special